we're going on a collection caper, not with a train. We can do 2-car collection capers now. So we are heading to Caerphilly to introduce a new car to the fleet. What we're really after is a family car, something sensible, daily transport.
What do you think of the chances that this car is those things, people? I see
There
a
it is.
car.
There is the car. What could the car be?
I can't imagine.
Oh, this is going to drive us 100 miles home, is it?
No, it's not driving us, dear. No. I've got a car. This car's driving you home.
Right, boost the pack. Key goes in here. Oh, that's good. We got some noises.
Right, the key is saying the boot is locked, the car's locked.
Okay, so let's undo that and we'll just press unlock.
Right. Neutral.
It's in neutral, that's encouraging. Interesting. That sounds like not quite enough power, doesn't it? Let's hit the boost.
That's more I've had out of the bigger battery. I don't know if there's too much power going into
Yeah.
it or not, I don't know.
Right, I've got jump leads if it comes to it.
Well, I
And
got jump leads as well.
second battery as well if needed. Oh, it probably needs unlocking again. Yeah, that is not enough power. Right, so situation, we're pumping up this front tyre. This one's flat, all the others seem okay. The alternator, I think, has seized, and that's why the engine's not turning over, but you can't get at anything from above. The access has to be through here, so we're going to have to jack the car up, get this wheel off, and see if we can get some access to the alternator. They sometimes free off. We are really hoping it frees off, but if nothing else, if we get the belt off, we can see if the engine will start. Well, this is going well. We've even been to Halfords to try and buy more tools, but no joy. We've given up and cut off the alternator belt, which means getting home is not happening today. But the alternator, which is up there, absolutely seized. Getting it out, you kind of have to drop the engine and remove engine mounts. This is getting way beyond what we're actually capable of today. But the engine now seems to turn. So moment of truth time. Gonna press the unlock and we'll see if she starts. Showing neutral. Almost. I would say that isn't entirely happy, dear.
Some interesting sound effects.
Yeah. That still doesn't really want to go. There we go. That's probably the first time this has run since September. Now I think the alternator belt also does the water pump, so we can't drive anywhere now. But nonetheless, we have proof of concept. We actually have a running Smart for the first time today. So that's something, I guess. There you go, aircon pulley, the compressor's not kicking in. That sounds good.
That sounds good.
Does sound good. Well, we've managed to push it around a bit, but unfortunately still fighting us. The starter motor now doesn't sound very happy, perhaps because it's been waging a war against the seized alternator. So we're going to have to regroup, possibly spares, possibly more tools, and yeah, if we're going to drive this home, we're going to have to do some serious fixing. No, we decided that was a very bad idea. So we got it transported. A very nice chap called David has just bought the Smart car up to the unit where it can join the other hopeless wrecks that make up the HubNut fleet. Lighting is currently being provided by Ellie the 2CV. Well then, what exactly have we got here? Well, it is a Smart ForTwo Cabriolet from 2006, so it's the same age as Chemie the Charade, and being a cabrio, it's got the full fold back roof, and it's got this bit at the back that doesn't quite attach properly, which is probably why the back end I don't know if you saw, it's quite full of water. We've got a number plate light that I think someone probably broke, trying to make it work for the MOT. It's fine. And we got the old classic seized alternator. So that is very much a thing on these. We'll have a look inside, and because I haven't really had a chance to assess it myself yet. It looks like we've got a bit of hinge dropping going on there. I wouldn't say it's the most loved car, and needs a good clean out. Some of the mankiness that was on the steering wheel seems to have abated somewhat, but I forget what the mileage is, about 64,000 I think it was. We did see that briefly at one point yesterday. Little CD player. We've got air conditioning, which is more of a pain for the work we need to do, and we've got no battery down there at all at the moment. These interiors are so boring. The early Smarts had beautiful, colourful interiors. These later ones were just black, boring nastiness. But just look at it. I have always wanted a Smart. To think, poor Myrtle here, when she was brand new, I was often driving her to the Smart dealerships in Birmingham. Don't think we ever went to this one though. That's right in the centre of Birmingham. To drive these, I drove several of them. As soon as they came into the country, when there was still left-hand drive, I drove them. I drove them right-hand drive. I drove roadsters. I was just convinced I need one of these, but could never quite bring myself to make the financial commitment. But I think there's a lot of positivity here. This car actually cost me nothing. It was given to me as a working car. It works-ish, a bit HubNut-ish in that description, but nonetheless it's been saved from scrap. We've got it here. It has MOT. We just need to sort out that alternator, and then hopefully we can actually take it for a drive. Be nice, wouldn't it? Actually see what it's like. Can you bump start a Smart?
In this video, Ian has a daft idea and I go along with it.
Yeah, in this video, you drive a car that's got 4 times the engine capacity of your normal car and an automatic gearbox.
And what else am I doing with said vehicle?
Towing the Smart. Because we've got to get it to the top of the hill somehow. This is all because the starter motor is knackered. We have a new starter motor. To fit it, we've got to drop the entire rear subframe. And
Which we were actually
just
fortunate.
want to drive it before.
We were fortunate enough to see how that works.
Yeah, we went to visit Grill to Till, Richard in Caerphilly, quite near where this car came from. Yeah. He breaks Smarts, and we went to visit him. We acquired a starter motor and an alternator, which is back up there, for £100 for the pair, which I don't think is too bad. And he also had various Smarts in states of disassembly, so we could actually see where the starter motor is. And basically, it's on the top of everything, which means when it's in the car, the body is in the way. So the way to access that is to drop the subframe or the engine to give you sufficient access. We're not about that today. We just want to see if we can actually drive. I just want to play with it. I just want to drive it.
That's all.
It's a car. I haven't got to drive it yet. So what we're going to do, I don't think I can bump it on this very slight slope in the unit. So we're going to drag it to the top of a steeper hill, and nothing can possibly go wrong. And then I'm going to see if I can bump start the car. Ooh. Oh, that tow rope looks very short now. Oh, balls. Oh, God. We lost the slack. Okay, that feels quite fast this close. Oh, there we go. Successfully at the top of the hill, out of breath because we just had to turn around manually. But in theory, we should now be able to bump her down this hill. In theory, I have a little push assistant on the back. Yep. Just in case.
Give the initial shove.
By the way, you have to be careful where you push on one of these, don't you?
Why?
Plasticky.
Oh gosh, absolutely yes.
Yeah.
Only the silver really you want to be pushing on.
Yeah.
So there's
there we go.
A bar across.
Is this a smart idea? Let's find out.
Is this a smart idea? Absolutely,
right.
This isn't.
Close the door. Our procedure is we turn the ignition on. There we go. We're in neutral. I push my foot all the way down. I'm going to hold her on the foot brake, and then we push her over here and hold her in first. Release the brake. Our assistant gives us a push to get us started. And I've got to try and steer. Oh. And in theory, the car will realise it's rolling and try and start the engine. Oh, it tried. We are rolling, we're no longer being pushed. It is trying. It's given up. Interesting. Here we go. We'll get towed up for attempt 2. Ignition off. It went into neutral itself that time.
Oh, bum.
Let's just try it one last time on the steep hill.
Okay. Do you need a
Throttle
push?
flat.
You got this.
Foot brake on. Handbrake off. Push and hold in first. Brake off. And away we go. Aha! We did it! I don't know what it's bleeping about.
Holy crap!
It runs.
Oh my god!
I should probably bring the camera. What?
Just looking at the belts, making sure they go round.
There we are, folks. Officially running and officially charging, one presumes. There we go.
You just leave it running?
Yeah. I know I want to drive her up. I'll drive you back up to Betty, shall I?
Where am I putting Betty?
We'll bring her back down here. We even got the roof off now. Right, it sounds like the aircon's running. It just went psst. Very weird.
This is my first time
Right.
aboard the Smart.
Into first we go. And it did drive. You have to ignore that weird Volkswagen thing, I'm afraid. I can't tell you anything about it yet.
What's the weird Volkswagen thing?
The white thing up there. It's very weird. You could hear all the engine noise because we haven't got the engine cover on.
Yeah.
Put her in automatic.
This car's a topic of discussion in our household because Miss Hubnut's quite taken with it now. Hang on.
Second gear. It selected it just as we hit a hill. There we go. The Smart is a driver. How hard is it to fit a starter motor to a Smart ForTwo? I'm not sure I'm going to like the answer, but let's find out together. Here is the engine, engineered by Mercedes-Benz, and the starter motor is kind of about there, down there. So access is impossible unless you drop the engine or the subframe. So we're going to be doing one of those two. I believe it is possible to kind of tilt it a bit just to get enough access to get in there and get the starter motor out. So that's what we're going to be aiming to do. Going to have to get all the rear bodywork off to aid access, because I think you need to disconnect some of the suspension arms so you can leave the suspension on the floor and jack the car up. That's the theory. Let's see how it actually goes. Well, that bit wasn't too difficult. Now we can see my slightly crispy exhaust, but I think it is actually still solid. I've got the intercooler fan out. One of the few tasks we can do without dropping the engine, but yeah, a bit stuck for the moment. Well, I think we're starting to get somewhere. We've had to call in some favours and requests for help with tools, including my new landlords, who thankfully are car people, had the missing E18 socket that we desperately needed to undo the subframe mounts. I've got them all turning. We've got a jack under there, so hopefully now we can undo them and lower the subframe just enough to get some access. So fingers crossed. The front mount is leaking water and isn't very keen to come undone, perhaps because it's been full of water. Triumphant moment. It has been a considerable battle for 3 of us, but the intercooler scoop that goes in this area is finally out, and we think, oh no, there's 3 bolts down there. Maybe it isn't those bolts. We're now trying to work out where the starter motor bolts are, because we can almost see the starter motor. That is it, I think. Camera is struggling to focus on it because we can see it so badly. I think it may be these top 2 bolts, but you want to be certain about that before you start randomly undoing them. Well, this is the biggest load of rubbish ever. We're about 4 hours in. We've got the subframe dropped. We've swapped the front bolts, sorry, the back bolts to the front for a bit of security. We've got axle stands under the arms as well. So you can see we've managed to lower everything, but it still gives no access whatsoever. Aircon compressor completely in the way. And the starter motor, we still can't really see the starter motor. There it is, with a label on it. These are the bolts we think that hold it in place. But we can't get the wiring to disconnect the wiring, and even then, we're like, how do you get it out? There's aircon pipes and coolant pipes and everything all in the way. Oh, that must be what they're on about, coolant pipes over the starter motor. Marvellous. But yeah, I still can't even feel the wiring connectors on the back of it. Stupid design. We've now got coolant draining because you have to disconnect these hoses to get access, but we do seem to have a starter motor that's free. The next question is, how on earth do we get it out of there? It feels like the water pump is entirely in the way. The job that just keeps on giving. It's out. That has been an ordeal. We had to remove the outlet off the water pump in the end. There was just enough room. But we're going to have to call this quits because we're kind of running out of day. At this point, it's beautiful sunlight, but it's getting on for 7 o'clock at night now. So I think we're going to pack up and revisit this one. My voice is going. And here's the cars that have been helping today. Bye! Yes, it's the other Yugo Sana. That was Matt. Very mean and moody. I'm not going to film in parking, that's cruel. Well, welcome to day 2 of starter motor replacement on a Smart. The joyous job that keeps on giving. It's time to fit the new one. So here is our new starter. Down there is where it lives. Let's crack on and then we can get the subframe back up. I think that should be fun. And see if it'll actually start. Alright, so stage we're at the moment. The starter motor is in and bolted in. The water pipe is reconnected up, or water pipes variously. Now I'm about to put the aircon compressor back in place. And if you were wondering where you top up the coolant, we've got brake fluid and screen wash in this side, and the coolant is just down there in the dark. So we can top the coolant up there. Hope we don't get any airlocks at the back here. It's quite a long run. But I think once we've got it up and running, we can try and park it on a steep hill and encourage the air to move forwards. We'll see how we go. Apparently there is a temperature sensor somewhere around here at the top, and you can sort of ping it out and use that as an air bleed, but it sounds a bit fraught with danger to me, so we'll see how we go with burping hoses and parking her nose up. The good thing about digging in this much is you can find issues, like this little vacuum pipe has got a split in it. It comes up here and plumbs in exactly where the air intake is, so presumably it does something quite important, but not while it's got a really great split in it. But thankfully this coolant pipe from the Daihatsu Charade is about the same diameter, so I'm going to cut a section out and we'll use that. Never throw anything away. While we've been trying to put the car back together, Mini HubNut has been here dismantling the old starter motor for no better reason than why ever not. What have you found?
It's slightly melted.
Yeah, this that's in some action.
Yeah.
So, not ideal. A common Smart problem, alternator seizes and then the starter motor burns out, because when you turn the key, it isn't like an older car where you turn it and turn it off and it stops. It does like a 5-second burst where it keeps trying to turn. So I think what's happened is just burnt the starter motor out. In theory, you could probably replace this bit and get it rebuilt. We're not doing that, we're just fitting a second-hand one, hoping for the best.
Yeah.
Oh, while I remember, if you're finding the rear subframe won't lower, check you've taken the handbrake off, because it doesn't want to drop if the handbrake's on. If you release it, there's just enough play in the cables that you can then drop the subframe. And got something else to show you too. It's basically that everything is on flexes. So the brake system, you can see down there, we've got flexible pipes bringing the fluid to the subframe, and then it splits off on hard pipes, but the hard pipes are all attached to the subframe. So you've got plenty of play there. Coolant and aircon lines have all got plenty of play in them again, just to enable you to drop it down to get some access. So Matt's managed to get the aircon compressor back on. We'll refit the belts, and then we can start thinking about getting this subframe back up again. A couple of hours in, we're pretty much ready to lift the subframe again. All the belts are back on. We've got the intercooler back in. I've given the intercooler a bit of a clean. Almost all the pipe work. We're missing one bit of pipe work, and we'll hope that'll clamp down on this somewhat mangled thing on the inlet manifold, and then yeah, we should be there. I found my exhaust leak, by the way.
Oh really?
Yeah, it's this silencer right here. A little bit of weld needed on that, I suspect, but easy to get to. You can get the rear bumper off quite easily. We're just swapping the bolts around at the moment, so we've taken this big long one out of the front. It was our security bolt, and we're going to be jacking it up so we can get that back in here. It's a very long bolt. And Matt is just refitting the correct front bolt. Right, up we go. Bit more.
Yep. Bit more.
We've jacked the subframe back up. That's all bolted in. Everything is connected. It should be connected. We have surprisingly few fasteners left, most of them for bodywork. So I'm going to put the key in. Actually, no, I'm going to unlock the car. Otherwise, I'll get upset. There's the fuel pump. Runs and starts. They always do that, by the way. Even the Roadster seemed to do that. I'm not going to start, and then it did. So that's pleasing. We've just filled up with petrol. The engine still starts. That's good. We've had a few issues on the way here, though. The boost seems very variable. Sometimes it's like full on, wahey, and other times it feels like it's gone into a sort of limp mode. We ran diagnostics and saw nothing at all. So let's see what happens now. That feels pretty good, I would say. Nice with the roof back. Nice amount of buffeting, not too much. It's just done it again, I think. Yeah, it's just done it again. So my foot is flat to the floor and we're struggling to do 55 miles an hour. Can we get the boost to actually work properly this time? It's the continuing saga of our little Smart here. So under we go. Let's go. I can't go any wider than that. That's great. That's it. That's the actuator arm. So there's a couple of things here. This circlip can come off, so the actuator arm doesn't actually actuate anything at all. But the other thing is how stiff it is, and I don't know how stiff it's meant to be. I'm trying to see if I can. I can't actually get under here enough, I don't think. Or can I? There we go. Let's try and make it focus. So here's my hand. Is that free enough? Right, so the cycle valve lives under this hose here. So I've got to take that out. So I've got to get all the intake plumbing off to get access to it. That's fun. Put gloves on for that. It's quite oily down there. What was I going to show you down here? Oh yes, we've got pipe here, which I did effect a repair on. But I think that goes to the cycle valve. So I might want to check that. So I think what's happened, that looks like it's got scorched on something, so it's touched somewhere it shouldn't be, and that's gone really bad. And of course I now can't find my replacement hoses, we managed to lose them already. So I think option one is just to do a better job of repairing that, maybe swap it round. And yeah, it looks like it's caught something hot there as well. I am so very often my worst enemy. We are a few days further on. I've actually remembered to bring the vacuum pipe, which we entirely lost at home, and I fitted it. Let's have a look. So what seemed impossible last week is actually quite easy to overcome. We've got a new vacuum pipe here, so that's attached to the fuel pressure regulator to the inlet, and I've just used some rubber pipe to fit the new one-way valve. So effectively what that's doing is when you get the boost pressure, it's stopping that boost pressure going into the crankcase, which is obviously not what you want. And it may be why we're seeing quite so much oil leaking out down here. That could well be a reason, that it's simply over-pressurizing the crankcase and hurling oil out. So we'll see how this does. The only thing to do now is go for a test drive. It already feels different. If I'm under hard acceleration, make sure I can see. Doesn't feel as quick. Also seem to have lost a certain amount of my wastegate flutter. Yeah, it's not as peaky, definitely. Is it art? We think so. So we have bought our Smart, which stands for Swatch Mercedes Art, to the British Ironworks Centre in Shropshire to see if it fits in, and we kind of think it does. So let's take a look around this car. We have driven it hundreds of miles now. What are our thoughts after hundreds of miles? Just gone 9 o'clock in the morning. We are jumping back in time, and we're about to set off on this 100-mile drive today.
I didn't know we were time travelling today.
Yeah, because we're already there in video time.
Oh, okay.
Isn't that clever?
Cool.
Amazing. So yeah, we are setting off now, and I'm not going to drive. You're going to drive.
From here?
From here. I think it is time for the next level of your initiation. So if you press the button, does that take it back into manual? Yes, now we're in manual mode. Are you ready for this? Acceleration, you're doing the gears. It won't let you do anything that'll damage the engine.
So with the gears,
Yep.
I don't need to press anything, just push up and push down.
Yep. So
Okay.
forward takes you up the gearbox, backwards brings
Okay.
you back down.
And is she happy where she has to go off?
Yep, perfectly happy. Got one displayed on the dashboard.
Okay.
So move away when it's safe to do so.
Excuse my language. Might edit that out.
Well, listen to you turboing.
I am taking my foot off the accelerator when I'm changing the gears.
Yeah, you can do. You don't have to. You can just leave it where it is.
I think that's natural because you're using the clutch. So
Yeah.
Where are we? 5th gear. We're doing 50 miles an hour.
Yeah, that's entirely appropriate. So we're having a good old hurtle along in the Smart. Are you having a nice time?
I'm having a lovely time in the Smart.
There has been much revving and much acceleration and fun cornerings. I think someone's enjoying the go-kart-esque handling.
But it's not though. Like Shemi, when you throw Shemi around, she lets you know about it.
Yeah, she's got no front anti-roll
You
bar.
feel like
She
she's
does
going
lean.
to fling you, but
This one's quite tight.
doesn't, and she will hold into corners and stuff. So yeah, it's good fun.
It's time to say goodbye to the Smart. It feels a little too soon, to be honest, but needs must. We need to downsize the fleet, which is why in the next video I'm buying another car. And it's £200, and I've not seen it before, and it's got to get me home via the Netherlands. So stay tuned for video 2. But video 1, we've got to go and deliver this car to Birmingham. Its new owner lives up in Edinburgh. Scottish Car Enthusiasts and Trains TV. Davey, who's been a long-time supporter of HubNut, thank you Davey. He has bought the Smart. You may be thinking the Smart looks quite well smart, and indeed we have smartened it up a treat. We'll be doing a separate video on how we got it to look like this. Typical, it's like the cleanest car on the fleet, so let's sell it. How lovely is this? We've parked in the short-term parking. We found another Smart, so we have 2 of them. as the sun sets on Smart ownership. This is not the first time I've said goodbye to a car here. You remember the Maestro van? That was way back at the start of the channel. I sold that here, then got on the train to Sandwell and Dudley, I think it was, and bought a Rover 400 to get home because the Rover 600 I'd hoped to buy was an absolute dog. But same can't be said of this little thing. Just really like it. Just wish it was a little bit more comfortable, but hopefully Davey's on his way over. There we go then. Bye bye little Smart. And she's gone. Look at the sky. Oh, sun sets on another car on the HubNut fleet.